Hey guys, how you been? I hope you find your classes interesting and all the other teachers have started engaging you properly, and I hope that you are having fun learning new things. I hope that you are liking all your teachers and whatever they're teaching, and I hope you are experiencing the joy of learning new things. So in the last couple of classes, we have been discussing about communication, communicative intelligence, and the process of communication, so certain basic notions about communication. And today I'm planning to give you a very quick overview of types of communication. When you say types of communication, communication is something generic. There can be subcategories according to what the content of communication is or what the mode of communication is. The categories can be divided on the basis of the content and also on the basis of the form of communication. So we'll begin with probably one kind of categorization initially, and the rest we will be dealing in the coming classes. The first categorization can be on the basis of both form and content, that is formal and informal forms of communication. This is very clear from the nomenclature itself, from the way they are named itself: formal, informal. So what is formal communication and what is informal communication, and what is basically the difference? You can think about that. Now, on many occasions, probably think of a conversation at home with your mother or your friends, probably in the college canteen. How will you talk? Will you talk with such restrictions, as such use of certain kind of vocabulary? Would you be using very formal courtesies, like saying thank you every time somebody compliments, or saying very nice and positive things only? Would it be that way? No, right? So we will be as casual as we can be, and we will not be bothering much about the vocabulary that we use or the kind of language structure that we use. We may make grammatical errors, we may use colloquial slangs, and we may crack jokes which we may not think that much about the correctness of it and all. So we are very casual, and we are very free when we are talking with our peers or our friends or family members. So this actually constitutes informal communication. So in informal communication, both the content of communication and the form of communication are quite different. That is, what we speak about would be more casual and more personal things maybe, and the way in which we present those ideas would also be rather casual and leisurely, rather than very well organized and structured and well thought about. So that is informal communication. But when you go into an organization, probably when you're part of an educational institution, or probably when you're an employee in an organization, the way in which you communicate would not be exactly like the way you communicate to your friends or family. Of course, there would be moments when you will share your very friendly and positive conversations, but despite that, there will be many things to pay attention to. That is, most organizations would have certain kinds of hierarchies. There would be seniors, or there would be authorities, and the way in which you are expected to talk to them, or the way in which you are expected to communicate a certain kind of idea to them, would have certain modes of expressing. That is, you imagine that you have an idea for a project, and you go into your boss's cabin and you go like, hey dude, I've got this idea, I think we can work it out. We don't do that, right? You might go and say that, sir, I think I have a plan and it seems workable, and it probably would bring us more profit or more public attention. Would you consider my plan? You might say that. And imagine that you need leave. You will not leave a text like, I'm on leave today, so bear with me, or something. You wouldn't do that, but rather you might make an official request as such. In formal communication, many kinds of documentation, many forms of written communication, and even orally when speaking also, there are certain kinds of patterns to be followed, or certain kinds of norms to be followed. You say thank you to people, you congratulate people. Most of the time these come naturally to us, but still there are certain ways in which we do it. We try to maintain a bit of professionalism in our conversations. So this is the difference between formal and informal modes of communication. They differ in both form and content. Okay, I hope that is clear. The difference between formal and informal communication. Formal communication is mostly part of organizations or workplaces. Informal communication is part of more domestic spaces or more, friendly spaces as such. So I hope that is clear. And in the coming videos, we will be discussing about verbal and non-verbal communication. I'll give you a hint which you can think of in the coming classes. When I'm using a language, it's verbal communication, but I can communicate a lot of things without using a language. For example, if I'm like, this somehow communicates something to you, right? What it communicated is another question, because my expressions can be very vague, but this did communicate something to you, right? So did I use any language there? Probably the language of gestures, right? So that is non-verbal communication. We will be discussing this elaborately in the coming classes, but for the time being, keep these ideas in mind, that of formal and informal communication and the difference between the two. There are many more categorizations which we will be learning in the coming classes. Thank you for listening. So stay safe and take all the necessary precautions, and I hope everything gets well very soon. Stay positive. Thank you.